Good evening and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. Celtic 3 away to the one and only St Mirren. What a start to the game that was. What an absolutely fantastic start to the game. Matt O'Reilly provided a goal and an assist in the first 6 minutes of that game today as Celtic cruised against 10 men. And I've got to say, right, let's talk about this first of all. Was it a sending off or was it not a sending off? Of course, it was a sending off. Anywhere else in the pitch, he's got his stud showing, right? For people are now saying that it shouldn't have been a sending off. It should have been a sending off. He's got his stud shown. It was a sending off all day long. It was an absolutely ridiculous. Look, if he's got his foot high, that's understandable, right? But he's got to have his toe pointing out the way. His studs hit Joe Hart on the face. For me, it's a sending off all day long. We'll leave that there. We move on for it. Dyson Maeda, Greg Taylor were also on target. Whoa, and what is Greg Taylor's? Greg Taylor's been listening to this channel. He's been listening to social media. And he knows that fans don't think he's good enough for it. Is it the fact that he was getting abuse at the game from the fans, or is it the fact that people online having a say that Greg Taylor isn't good enough for Celtic and he's just put his fingers in his ears saying, I'm not listening to anything that you are saying? Although we go into the break now with 8 points, the Rangers do have 2 games in hand, but that's besides the point, isn't it? Celtic are sitting top of the league. I think that will be there come the end of the table. It was deja vu for the St Mirren manager, Stuart Robertson, whose team received red cards in previous matches against Celtic. It says, the dismissal of changes games, and I thought Celtic could have done a lot better. You've seen it at the end of the game. Callum McGregor didn't look too happy. Callum McGregor didn't look too happy at all with the result and the way that we played against 10 men. He thought, and Kyogo's miss. Now, people were talking on the live before this video. They were saying, is Kyogo just as good as Henrik Larsson? Never. Not on a month of Sundays. Henrik Larsson would have bulleted that header to the back of the net. Kyogo's missed those type of headers far too often for him to be even compared the same or anywhere near what the King of Kings was. Is he a good player? Yes, he's a fantastic striker. Anyway, let's talk about Dyson Maeda. Dyson Maeda gets the first goal within a minute and 30 odd seconds. Who could have predicted Dyson Maeda? I didn't certainly predict it as a start. Dyson Maeda scoring. Is that his first goal of the season? But I've got to say, he took it absolutely fantastic. O'Reilly on his 10th goal of the season. Lewis Palmer failed in Bernardo. We need to talk about him in a minute. Bernardo turns in the box, sees your man, and he a nice little pass. He does a nice jink. He was Paulo Bernardo. Celtic need to get him signed up. We're going to talk about Rio Hatate. Rio Hatate at the end of the game. Now, this was a worrying part for me. If you watched it on Celtic television, you would have seen Brendan Rodgers cuddling Rio Hatate. Rio Hatate's head in the shoulders of Brendan Rodgers. Is Rio Hatate about to be sold by Celtic? Tell me what you think about it in the comments. Or was it just the fact that he's a bit upset about not scoring? I don't know. To me, there was a bit more emotion in it than that. Have a look at the picture that's now on your screen. Hopefully, it is just that Rio is going away and he wants to do more for the team. Or is it the unthinkable? Is that Rio Hatate's last game for Celtic? We'll only find out when the transfer window closes. Anyway, if it wasn't for the quick-fire goals, it was game over after 6 minutes. Maeda put in some dangerous crosses for a change. I thought that we were in control of the game. Big Rocky was unable to get on the end of a Kyogo Furashi flick. O'Reilly heading past the post. We had so many chances to put this game to bed, big style, but we didn't do it. The raised boot when it comes, the raised boot, and he's got his stud showing. If it's anywhere else on the pitch, he's got his stud shown. If his stud comes off a leg and he's got his stud shown, it's a red card. It had to be a red card. So for anyone that's saying it wasn't a red card, it had to be a red card all day long. Anyway, we move on. Matt O'Reilly, you've got to say it was absolutely fantastic today. Paulo Bernardo, to tell you one thing, Rio Hatate is going to have a fight in his hand for that position. How is the manager going to manage to play these players together towards the end of the season? That'll be interesting to see what happens when Rio Hatate does come back from the Asia Cup. Now, has Yang done enough to show you that he should be on in front of Lewis Palmer? For me, no, I don't think he has. Hatate, it was his first appearance since obviously the hamstring injury in Madrid. and against Atletico Madrid. Keeping the score down the way they did, you've got to say it was a good second half for the 10 men of St Mirren. Say what you want about it, but it was a good effort for them to make sure that the scoreline was kept the way it was. When you look at Callum McGregor and he came off the pitch, he said something to Joe Hart. And was it the fact that he was talking to Joe Hart about the sending off? Or was it the fact that he's not too pleased about the missed chances that Celtic had? Alistair Johnston missed a good chance. Greg Taylor missed a good chance. Kyogo puts that header wide when all he had to do was hit the target. Come on. Anyway, O comes on and the St Mirren goalkeeper pulled off blank point saves. You've got to say from Yang, Abada, and O on 2 occasions. So you've got to give it to their goalkeeper. Should Celtic then sign the goalkeeper? No, we're only kidding from that one. Anyway, tell me what you think about the scoreline in the comments. I predicted 3-1, and I thought we might have let in a goal, but the Celtic came out today absolutely on fire. Absolutely on fire. They came out with pace. They played the way that Brendan Rodgers has been talking about Celtic playing all season. They said he wants fast, attacking, pacey football, and he got that from the team today. It's a shame that the team are not going away on a warm winter training camp. I believe that Brendan Rodgers is allowing the players to have some time off now with family and friends, and then they'll come back to Lennoxtown and get back to business, getting ready for that Scottish Cup tie against Buckie Thistle in a few weeks' time. Look, we finished, it was the first game of 2024. Wow, 2024. It was a convincing 3-0 victory over the Paisley side. We head into the winter break, 8 points clear at the top of the table. Dyson Maida, Matt O'Reilly, and Greg Taylor, who would have had them on their coupon to score and win the game today at 3-0. Anyone that had them has to be completely lying. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments, and I'll see you tomorrow morning for the Celtic news, because I'm sure there's going to be absolutely an abundance of Celtic news over the next couple of days concerning Celtic transfers, both in and out the club. Maybe that's the reason that Brendan Rodgers does not want to take the team away. He wants to make sure that he is here in his office to get transfer deals done in this transfer window. Or maybe the fact he wants a square go with Peter Lawwell when no one else is around at Lennoxtown, so that he can get a checkbook out and get spending some of that 72 million that's in the bank. And on that note, have a fantastic evening, Celtic fans all around the world.